Well, I think what the South African woman represents in the world is it's a major significance. You know, I believe that as women, we are a pillar for our country. We are a pillar because we bring life into the world and we teach the lives that we bring into the world. My thoughts of women and their roles in leadership is that, leadership actually starts from childhood. I believe that it is instilled from what you experience around you, and I think that as people, whatever life brings towards us, there is something that we make out of it. For some people it can crush you, and for some people it can be an opportunity to build yourself. So my mountain as a child, one of them was, as a 5-year-old or even as a 6-year-old, which is the vivid memories that I still have, was being brought up in a home with so many siblings, and I didn't have what I wanted. I went to school bare feet. I didn't get new underwear, and the underwear that I had was what I got from my aunt, and I used to sew it up so that it could fit me. And in that time, it was a bit disgusting for me, but I couldn't say anything. But looking at it right now, it really taught me so much in my life as an adult. And another major mountain that I actually got to cross when I was as an adult is in my marriage, when I contracted HIV. And I didn't even know that I had it. I lived with the naivety that I'm in a secure relationship, I'm a married woman, and I come from a learning that when you're in a marriage, naturally there is the security. So what I've had to do as well as a lesson was to take responsibility and say, this is my life and I'm accountable for my life. What I did realize is that in my relationship, I had put my life and my health in my husband's hands. And whenever one gets to do that, there are so many stories that are going around. There are so many women, if you get to talk to them without having to bring judgment or anything, there are so many stories that you will hear of how we actually take our lives and we put them in the person's hands. And that makes it so easy for us to make these people wrong. And people just do what they do. You can never determine or even know what a person is going to do next. So that was a major mountain for me to climb. And once I got to the peak of it, which I feel that is where I am right now, I am able to talk about my status without having to hold back. I am able to have conversations with people with the aim of empowering them and with the aim of them realizing that they are responsible and they are accountable for their lives. And when you do take your life and you put it in someone else's hands, that is what you are doing. That is not what they are asking you to do. And even if they do, the person who ends up saying yes, it's you. Well, knowing that every time that I have had mountains to climb, what keeps me climbing is that whenever I put my step on the next one, I will be further away from the one before. I will have grown, and I will look at these challenges or at this mountain and look at what was the step there. If there was any roughness on there, what made that area rough? And what can I take from it? Do I now make my soles smoother or put a better rubber on them? And how do I grab to the next step? And here's the thing, there is always a mountain. It may be however small or it may be however big, and I think all our mountains are not necessarily the same sizes. And if we ever thought that they are the same sizes, just look around in the world, no mountain is the same size. If women needs to give commitment, I'd say start with yourself, because whatever you give, it always comes from you. Whether you give it to children, whether you give it to friends, whether you give it to your partner, to your friends, colleagues, whoever you give it to, it comes from you. Whether it is that you're copying someone, when you do copy it, there's some resignation that copying has to have on you. Like it's gotta resonate with you. So it starts with you. I think that community service is really important, and I'm going to say this differently right now. But I say that it's quite interesting right now with the credit crunch, and I think there's really a lesson for us to learn, because a lot of people have actually worked themselves and say we want financial freedom and we want all these riches, and they've acquired material things that are really fancy and great, you know, and they're living at a particular standard in their lives. But then there's also people who have wanted to come to a certain level, and some people have accomplished getting to a certain level and some people have not. There's a vast difference between the people that are there and the people that are there. And what I'm saying is, what this credit crunch is really teaching us is, when you go up, you cannot go up alone, because all these guys are going to need you. And you know, like right now, I think a lot of the people who are already there, they are having to sacrifice or even give of that riches that they have. But also at the same time, is what got them there is these people. So I'm saying, when we climb, let's climb all together. And I think as communities, if you're heading fast up and you're leaving other people behind, this pattern is likely to repeat itself. And I'm saying that with all the number of years that it has happened before, it is likely that it will happen again if we continue the way that we have been continuing all this time. If you're a person who started with a simple idea or a dream, it started as a simple action, and you took steps to get somewhere. And it is with tenacity and with passion that you got to where you were. So definitely that little action that you took at some point has put you somewhere. And you know, if I have to speak about people who don't have in their lives, giving something to them, it's so great. A friend of mine always says to me, you know, honey, you are such a beautiful woman, because I come from a very conservative background where you are not supposed to smile at a guy. If you smile at a guy, then it means that you are prompting something, and they will be with you, and you got to be able to take whatever it is that they've got to give. So I would avoid that kind of thing. And she used to say to me, honey, if you can give a smile to someone, even if they don't look as beautiful or as handsome as your eyes want them to look, but you would have made their day, and that's all sometimes that people are looking for. So yes, my personal message of support and inspiration to the women of South Africa is, we are rich. As an individual, you are very rich. And it is just for you to tap into that richness. And I say this because, you know, in this time of difficulty, I have come up with the most extraordinary ideas, which I knew I had, and it's ideas and things that I was passionate about as a child. But having grown up in an environment where certain things I could just not do, but that passion was always there. So, you know, from your childhood, there are things that you wanted to do, and even though someone said to you, no, not that, or not like that, that thing is probably still there. And if you can tap into it, you are the best thing that has ever come into life. And you have so much to offer. Even if you're not the one who's going to accomplish it, be willing to part with it and give it to someone who's going to make something out of it. So as an individual, I say, you are very rich, and believe that.